Import process has been running.
For the supply of oxygen during the emergency PPKM period, where demand soared sharply.
Trade Minister ensures that the oxygen import process has been running this week. Waskita Karya is proposed to receive 11 trillion rupiah state capital investment. Hello, good evening viewers. Market Headlines is ready to provide you a number of informations from business, economic, and capital market sector. And as the pandemic is still going on, we will provide you the latest COVID-19 information. So please stay safe by taking some simple precautions such as physical distancing, wearing a mask, avoiding crowds, cleaning your hands, and having less mobility. With me, Claranta Wijaya, and this is Market Headline. As demand soars sharply amid the surging COVID-19 cases, Minister of Trade ensures that the oxygen import process has been running this week and there are no problems in the process.
The Minister of Trade, Muhammad Lutfi, continues to coordinate with the relevant ministries for the supply of oxygen during the emergency PPKM period, where demand soared sharply. Lutfi ensured that the oxygen import process has been running this week. Lutfi emphasized that oxygen has been included in the list of goods prioritized for procurement by the government. He ensured that the Trade Ministry facilitate the import of oxygen and ensured that there were no problems at the Indonesian border when the goods entered Indonesian territory.
Adalah bagian yang memang dimintakan oleh BNPB untuk produk-produk yang memang dipastikan tidak ada halangan ketika masuk di wilayah Indonesia. Jadi saya bisa pastikan bahwa oksigen ini sudah masuk ke dalam listnya dan mudah-mudahan tidak ada permasalahan untuk kegiatan pengadaan terutama di batas negara ya. Jadi maksudnya dari luar di daerah Indonesia. Jadi ini yang kita jadikan dan ini sudah menjadi eksepsi.
Lutfi hopes that the oxygen shortage can be quickly addressed so that the handling of COVID-19 patients in Indonesia can be more optimal. Jakarta, Rizka Ayu, IDX Channel.
Bank Indonesia estimates that the implementations of the emergency COVID-19 restrictions will suppress the economic growth this year. Central Bank governors say that this year, the economy will only grow in the range of 3.8%.
Economic growth rate is predicted to be under pressure after the government implemented the emergency COVID-19 restrictions for almost 3 weeks. This decision was made to reduce the rate of cases of COVID-19 transmissions by suppressing the mobility rate of the community by up to 50%. As a result, the household consumption sector is slowing down, and of course, it has strong correlations to economic growth. Governor of Bank of Indonesia, Peri Warjio, in a meeting with the House of Representatives stated that central bank, before there was emergency COVID-19 restrictions, previously projected 4.5% economic growth this year. However, the projections decreased to be 3.8%.
Secara rinci berbagai indikator, tapi asesmen awal ini menunjukkan bahwa pertumbuhan ekonomi di tahun 2021 itu akan lebih rendah dari perkiraan kami sebelumnya yang titik tengahnya pada waktu itu adalah 4,6%. Asesmen awal kami menunjukkan kalau PKMM darurat ini kita lakukan selama 1 bulan dan bisa menurunkan COVID itu secara baik, pertumbuhan ekonomi kita akan turun ke sekitar 3,8%.
But the good side is Bank of Indonesia assessed the first semester of economic improvement has been seen. This is driven by export growth, realizations of fiscal spending, as well as increased non-construction investment. From Jakarta, Raharjo Patmo for IDX Channel.
As there is pro and cons regarding paid vaccinations, Finance Minister delivered her voice that 70% of Indonesians will get free COVID-19 vaccines.
The latest plan to launch a privately paid vaccination program has been met with anger and critics who claims the government is attempting to reap profits from the pandemic. To soften the blow, Finance Minister Sri Mulyani guarantees that its paid vaccination scheme will not reduce the portion of free vaccination. She targeted that minimum target of free COVID-19 vaccination is 70% of population. But the main concern at this time is how to speed up the COVID-19 vaccination to suppress the surge in COVID-19 cases. The government ensures that it continues to encourage free vaccinations by developing the Indonesian National Police to the national police in achieving vaccinations target of 1 to 2 million doses per day.
Kita dengar di sini ada yang mengatakan vaksin berbayar dan yang lain-lain. Nanti saya sampaikan saja kepada Kementerian Kesehatan juga mengenai aspirasi yang tadi disampaikan. Tapi seperti yang dikatakan oleh Pak Said, pemerintah menjamin untuk yang tadi 70% herd immunity itu adalah secara gratis dan itu sudah ada di dalam anggaran APBN kita.
Currently, the government has given around 36.19 million doses for the first vaccinations and 14.97 million doses for the second vaccination. From Jakarta, Raharjo Patmo for IDX Channel.
Moving on to today's International Minute. Virgin Group's space flight company, Virgin Galactic, just took a test flight to space with its owner, Richard Branson. Another breakthrough comes from Thailand, as the country will mix the use of AstraZeneca and Sinovac for COVID-19 vaccines. More stories on today's International Minute.
Richard Branson, the nearly 71-year-old billionaire and the founder of Virgin Atlantic Airways, just took a test flight to space, along with the 5 Virgin Galactic crew members. While the new company has manned test flights into space before, this is the first one on which Branson is tagging along, as well as the first flight with the full crew. Branson had previously planned on sending himself to the space later this summer, but moved up the date after fellow billionaire Jeff Bezos announced that he would go to space on July 20th. The publicity stunt is aimed at boosting both the nearly 17-year-old Virgin Galactic and the nascent space tourism industry. Amid the global spread of the more contagious Delta variant, North Korea reports no coronavirus cases. North Korea has conducted coronavirus tests on around 35,000 people so far, but found no infections, as the World Health Organization stated. According to the WHO weekly report on COVID-19, 718 North Koreans underwent virus tests from June 25 to July 1st, bringing the total number of tested citizens to 35,500 people, but no one were found to have been infected. The 718 newly tested citizens, 127 people with symptoms turned out to be those with flu-like illness or acute respiratory illness. North Korea has claimed to be coronavirus-free, but has taken relatively swift and tough measures against the pandemic, such as imposing strict border controls early last year. Thailand said on Monday it will use AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine as a second dose for those who received Sinovac shot, as they for those to increase the protection against the disease. The plan, if implemented, would be the first publicly announced mix and match of Chinese vaccine and Western developed shot. This is to improve protections against Delta variant and build high level of immunity against the disease, as Health Minister Anutin Chanvirakul told the reporters. Thailand and neighborhoods like Indonesia have reported breakthrough infections among medical and frontline workers inoculated with Sinovac activated virus vaccine. Indian digital payments firm PayATM is planning to raise around $268 million in a funding round as it prepares for initial public offering later this year. PayTM will also seek to issue 83 billion rupees worth of new shares, and its backers, Alibaba and SoftBank, will have the options to sell around 83 billion rupees in stock. PayTM's parent, 197 Communications Limited, will file a draft prospectus shortly after its extraordinary general meeting on Monday for a domestic IPO that seeks to raise about $2.3 billion. That will make PayTM's IPO India's third biggest in dollar terms after state-run Minor Coal India in 2010 and Reliance Power in 2008. IDX Channel reported.
Market headlines will be right back after this quick break.
Hai Sobat Investor, kalian ingin tetap bisa menabung meskipun keadaan keuangan kalian sedang sulit? Dengerin tips berikut ini ya. Kita masuk ke tips yang pertama ya. Nah, yang pertama, kalian harus memenuhi semua kebutuhan rutin kalian terlebih dahulu nih. Barulah setelah itu kalian bisa mengalokasikan pendapatan kalian untuk memenuhi kebutuhan pelengkap lainnya. Kita masuk ke tips yang kedua ya Sobat Investor. Jadi penting sekali bagi kalian untuk menutup hutang sesuai dengan kemampuan kalian. Selain itu, kalian juga perlu menentukan utang mana yang harus kalian dahulukan untuk dilunasi. Selain itu, penting juga untuk selalu menyesuaikan dengan uang tunai yang kalian miliki. Tips selanjutnya yaitu tips yang ketiga. Jadi kalian penting sekali untuk menekan biaya bulanan nih Sobat Investor. Jadi kalian juga memang harus memangkas kebutuhan yang memang sifatnya hanya pelengkap saja. Dan penting sekali bagi kalian untuk mempertahankan biaya bulanan yang sifatnya memang untuk kebutuhan utama kalian. Tips yang keempat terkait dengan pengelolaan aset. Jadi jika ternyata penghasilan yang kalian miliki ini tidak bisa menutup kebutuhan kalian, maka kalian bisa mempertimbangkan untuk menjual aset yang kalian miliki. Tips yang kelima, jangan lupa sisihkan sekitar 10% dari penghasilan kalian untuk ditabung di tiap bulannya. Dan saat keadaan keuangan kalian sedang sulit, tidak menjadi alasan untuk gagal mencapai impian. Jangan lupa ya, harus selalu rajin dan juga disiplin dalam menabung Sobat Investor.
Welcome back to Market Headline. The initial public offering of Bukalapak is continuously being discussed by the capital market participants. The IPO even triggers debates between traditional investors, millennials, futures investors, and traders regarding Bukalapak shares valuation.
The initial public offering of the Indonesian e-commerce Bukalapak on the Indonesia Stock Exchange is being widely discussed by market players, even sparking debate between investors. The debate over the Bukalapak IPO was described by Anton Hermansyah, Senior Investment Information and Technical Analyst at Korea Investment and Securitas Indonesia, who said that traditionalist investors thought the IPO offering price was unreasonable, while futurist investors considered the price reasonable to enter the digital economy. From a traditionalist perspective, with a price of 750 up to 850 rupiah per share, the price-to-book value of Bukalapak shares is 36.2 times. This figure makes traditionalists and value investors shake their heads because a PBV above 10 times is considered too expensive. Meanwhile, futurist investors argue that PBV cannot be used to assess digital companies that are growing rapidly. Futurist investors currently tend to use the gross merchant value or GMV approach in determining the valuation of e-commerce and digital banks. IDX Channel reports.
It is buzzing around everywhere. Bukalapak is confirmed to be the first Indonesian unicorn to be listed on the Indonesia Stock Exchange. And to know it further, let's take a look at the detail of Bukalapak IPO and the first graphic. Here it is through your screen. We can see the detail about the IPO itself, whereas a maximum of 25.76 billion shares, or it is around 25% of the paid capital. And the offering price would be in the level of 750 or 150 rupiah per share. And the maximum offering value is only around 21.9 trillion rupiah. And then 0.1% of the shares offered are allocated to the employee program, and then the Mandiri Sekuritas and Buana Capital will be the managing underwriters. And the Chief Executive Officer of Bukalapak, Rahmat Kaimuddin, said that the IPO of Bukalapak is a milestone for the technology industry and the Indonesian capital market, where for the first time, a unicorn startup company will list its shares on the Indonesian Stock Exchange, and its shares can be owned by public. And moreover, the management ensures that the proceeds of the IPO will be used for working capital for Bukalapak and its subsidiaries. And regarding this, how is the response from the public, including capital market participants? Let's directly see it to the next graphic. So here it is. As we know that Bukalapak has so many pros and cons within the IPO, and then it's continuously discussed by the capital market participants, even triggers the debates between traditional investors and millennials, futurist investors. But here it is from the perspective of William Hartanto, as the analyst of Parnit Sekuritas, say that it is positive and the demand is large. Maybe after the listing will be continue to be purchased by investors who have not been able to get initial public offering. Moreover, Bukalapak will be the first e-commerce to enter the exchange with a price of 150 rupiah per share. It means that one lot is only around 85,000 rupiah, still affordable by retailers. And Bukalapak's IPO's offering price triggers debate between traditional and futurist investors. So from traditionalist perspective, with a price of 750 to 850 rupiah per share, the price to book value of Bukalapak share is around 36.2 times. This PBV number makes traditionalists shake their heads because a PBV above 10 times is considered too expensive. Meanwhile, the futurist investors argue that PBV cannot be used to assess digital companies that are growing rapidly. Futurist investors currently tend to use the gross merchant value or GMV approach in determining the valuations of e-commerce and digital bank. So how to see the difference between the perspective? Of course, it depends on our risk profile and our investment horizon. Apart from Bukalapak, are there any other giant startups planning an IPO? Before going there, let's first look at the valuations of several Indonesian startups in the next graphic. Here it is, through your screen, we can see valuations of Indonesian giant startups. First, Gojek won the first place by 10.5 billion US dollar valuation, and GNT Express by 7.8 billion US dollar valuation. And the third place, we got the largest e-commerce in Indonesia, Tokopedia, by 7.5 billion US dollar valuations, Bukalapak by 3.5 billion US dollar valuations, and Traveloka by 3 billion US dollar valuations, while OVO with 2.9 billion US dollar valuation. And regarding IPO plan, Tokopedia management say that the market adoption is increasingly driving Tokopedia's business growth during the pandemic, and now the company is considering accelerating the plans to become a public company. On the other side, Traveloka management revealed that the company is still in the finalization stage of planning and selecting the best route to become a public company, where Traveloka considers that the IDX as a place where the company will list its shares. Although at the same time, Traveloka also does not deny the hope that they conduct the IPO on the U.S. Stock Exchange. The IPO of Indonesian unicorns are certainly expected to have positive impacts on the capital market. So, what are the expectations? Let's see the next graphic. Here it is. through your screen, we can see the expectation set by Indonesia Stock Exchange regarding the current startup IPO. First, it is expected to increase in the weight of Indonesian shares in MSCI index, which is regional and international, and to increase the number of retail and institutional investors in the Indonesian capital market, and to make higher average daily transaction value and market liquidity. The Indonesia Stock Exchange certainly welcomes the intentions of a number of giant startups company who want to list their initial shares and through the public offering. IDX Director Laksono Widodo said that this could make the weight of Indonesian shares in the MSCI index to be lifted. As a result, this will encourage the flow of the foreign capital into Indonesia's stock market. And yes, viewers, hopefully the IPO of Bukalapak will be the opening of other unicorn IPO actions. And of course, we hope that Indonesian capital market will be more attractive than before. So stay tuned because market headlines will be right back after this quick break.
Apa yang membuat Veronica waktu itu memiliki inisiatif saya mau membangun startup yaitu portal untuk mencari kerja?
Latar belakangnya pas aku kuliah di Amerika. Di sana memutuskan untuk memperdalam di dunia human resource. Mereka minta aku untuk memperluaskan service scope aku.
Cara mencari informasi tersebut gimana caranya?
Banyak kita terima datanya online gitu. Orang yang sharing-sharing informasi.
Pemerintah Indonesia melalui Kementerian Koordinator Bidang Perekonomian Erlangga Hartarto menyiapkan sejumlah cara untuk meningkatkan peran UMKM di pasar internasional.
Jaga tren ini dan memacu peningkatan ekspor, termasuk mendorong penciptaan eksportir baru dari kalangan pelaku usaha menengah kecil dan mikro.
Pemerintah akan mempercepat realisasi bansos dengan memberikan bansos selama 3 bulan ke depan.
Yes, viewers, let's take a look at Jakarta Composite Index intraday movement. So earlier today, JCI was open at the level of 6,084.85. And approaching the closing time of the first session, the index was on the level of 6,071.12. And the index was showing weakening trend by the second session closing time. The index was closed at a level of 6,012.02. In short, JCI went down 1.09%. So next, we're going to see the intersectoral movement. Leading the dynamics of today's trading, we got transportations and logistics sector that went up 0.6%. Meanwhile, we got technology sector that went down 2.6%. Infrastructure went down 2.43%. And non-cyclic sector went down 0.09%. And moving on to top gainers and top losers, here are the key highlights from today's trading sessions. We got BBRI that went up 0.53%. We got BNBA that went up 1.43%. We got BGTG that went up 1.46%. And ICBP that went up 1.42%. Meantime, for the top losers, For today's trading sessions, we got MTech that went down 5.3%. We had WMHS that went down 4.39%. We got Aneka Tambang that went down 0.39%, and Telkom Indonesia that went down 1.92%. Next, we're going to see the intraday movement of rupiah towards US dollar. So rupiah opened at the level of 14,496. Rupiah was also showing weakening trend towards US dollar. It was closed at the level of 14,478. In summary, rupiah went down 0.01%. As government plans to increase investment financing for SOE, Waskita Karya is proposed to receive state capital investment of 7.9 trillion rupiah in the second half of 2021 and 3 trillion rupiah in 2022.
The Ministry of Finance plans to increase investment financing in second half of 2021, one of which is to Waskita Karya. Waskita will receive state capital investment of 7.9 trillion rupiah in the second half this year. In addition, Waskita is also proposed to receive an additional PMN of 3 trillion rupiah in 2022. In a working meeting with the House of Representatives, Minister of Finance Sri Mulyani said the government plans to increase investment financing worth 32.9 trillion rupiah from the 2021 National Economic Recovery Program and 16.9 trillion from the over budget balance. For Waskita Karya, it is planned to be given an additional 7.9 trillion rupiah for the completion of the construction of 7 Trans-Java and Sumatra toll roads, divestment of potential toll roads to reduce debt burden, as well as being part of the 8 lines of company rescue activities. Waskita Karya SVP Corporate Secretary Ratna Ningrum added that the proposed PMN funds will be used to strengthen the company's capital structure in the context of restructuring. IDX Channel reports.
Aside from market conditions, as coronavirus pandemic takes big role on current economic situations, here is an update data about coronavirus globally. And the news close of market headlines today. Please enjoy our next program on IDX Channel, your trustworthy economic, business, and capital market channel. And as the COVID-19 pandemic is still going on, keep protecting your family by following the health protocols. Wearing face masks, keep your distance, and stay away from the crowds. Wash your hands through running water. And also continue to support the vaccinations program to accelerate the creation of herd immunity. I'm Claranta Vijaya signing off. Stay safe.